Welcome to this online worship service. I am Aaliyah Shinbro, this year's student minister at the Unitarian Universalist congregation at Shelter Rock, a congregation which is ministered to by the Reverend Dr. Natalie Fenimore, the Reverend Jennifer Brower, and the Reverend Jay Brooks. Although we continue to stay physically distant to protect public health and shield those who are most vulnerable to illness, we also continue to worship and gather virtually to create loving religious community, to encourage spiritual growth, and to build a more just and joyful world. Just as we did when we met in person, we seek to ground our spirits in the love of virtual community, to celebrate life's joys, and find the strength to meet our sorrows together. You may be new to Unitarian Universalism. Ours is a covenantal religious tradition which embraces the wisdom of many faiths and values diversity. We believe in using science, reason, and the gifts of the Spirit to explore life's meaning and mystery. We affirm that you do not have to believe together in order to find belonging together. Please visit our website for more information on Unitarian Universalism and the Unitarian Universalist congregation at Shelter Rock. At noon each Sunday, you are invited to our virtual coffee hour to meet new friends and see the faces of friends you are missing. We hope to see you there. This worship service celebrates the Winter Solstice, welcoming this longest night of our year as a time which invites us to pause, to rest in darkness, to be nurtured and restored through word and song. Let us worship together.
Chalice Lighting for Winter Solstice by Reverend Sharon Wiley. This solstice night, in honor of ancient traditions that celebrate this time of longest night, we observe that the flaming chalice holds the elements of the four directions: earth, air, fire, water. The lamp oil for earth, the air that feeds the flame, the fire we light. And the chalice itself, the cup, the symbol of water. We light our chalice and reflect on the light we need to guide us through these hard times. The light of a shared faith, the light of a loving community, the light of love, joy, and hope.
together one more time.
This is Dana Gum. I'm reading Dark and Light, Light and Dark by Jackie James. Black Mail, Black List, Black Mark, Black Monday, Black Mood, Black Hearted, Black Plague, Black Mass, Black Market. Good guys wear white, bad guys wear black. We fear black cats in the dark continent, but it's okay to tell a white lie. Lily white hands are coveted. It's great to be pure as the driven snow. Angels and brides wear white. Devil's food cake is chocolate. Angel's food cake is white. We shape language, and we are shaped by it. In our culture, white is esteemed. It's heavenly, sun-like, clean, pure, immaculate, innocent, and beautiful. At the same time, black is evil, wicked, gloomy, depressing, angry, sullen. Ascribing negative and positive values to black and white enhances the institutionalization of this culture's racism. Let us acknowledge the negative connotations of whiteness. White things can be soft, vulnerable, pallid, and ashen. Light can be blinding, bleaching, enervating. Conversely, we must acknowledge that darkness has a redemptive character, that in darkness there is power and beauty. The dark nurtured and protected us before our birth. Welcome darkness. Don't be afraid of it or deny it. Darkness brings relief from the blinding sun, from scorching heat, from exhausting labor. Night signals permission to rest, to be with our loved ones, conceive new life, to search our hearts, to remember our dreams. The dark of winter is a time of hibernation. Seeds grow in the dark, fertile earth. The words black and dark don't need to be destroyed or ignored, only balanced and reclaimed in their wholeness. The words white and light don't need to be destroyed or ignored, only balanced and reclaimed in their wholeness. Imagine a world that only had light or dark. We need both, dark and light, light and dark.
Poem, Winter Solstice Prayer by Mary Saraceno. Deep night, dark night, night of the longest sigh, soulful night, sacred night, night of the longest dreams, cold night, holy night, night of unfurled desires, womb of the world, blither of hope, bringer of peace and goodwill. Pray, pray for all good things, that suffering for all will end, that life will thrive and generosity reign in the hearts of all mankind, that joy will rise and children will fly on wings of prosperity. Oh, hear our plead this silent night, when the moon is round in the sky, when hopes are high and eyes are wide, with delight and audacity. May love prevail tonight and always, leading us back to our source. May we dance with the dark without hesitation or fear, and savor her promise of plenty. Deep night, dark night, night of the longest sigh. May our weary hearts stay vigilant and receptive to all that is dear and loving.
We eat from fields we have not planted, and drink from wells we have not dug. And this is acceptable, as long as each in our own way we contribute to the health and the well-being and the thriving of those who share with us in being part of the interdependent web of all existence. Today we are taking up a collection for 2 organizations and extending our reach and care far out into the interdependent web. The first organization I'd like to tell you about is the AIDS Center of Queens County, which is, I know, well known to many of us. We've had a long relationship with them. But there are others here who don't know much about ACQC and who would benefit from knowing about the good work they do in the world. ACQC's mission is to enhance the quality of life of those living with HIV and AIDS, hepatitis C, and other chronic health conditions. ACQC offers a wide variety of community programs for people of all ages, from medical care and pharmacy support to holiday meals and holiday gifts for children and teens. ACQC helps to house the homeless and the precariously housed. They offer programs for at-risk teens and are now collecting warm clothing for those who are spending way too much time outside as the weather gets cold and will get colder still. ACQC needs our support. We hope that you'll join us in supporting them. The second organization that I'd like to tell you about today is the North Shore Soup Kitchen's Nosh program. The North Shore Soup Kitchen created the Nosh program in response to COVID-19 and the recognition that it was no longer safe for folks to come into the soup kitchen to receive food or to serve food. So the volunteers of the North Shore Soup Kitchen created the Nosh program to extend food out into the community. They are delivering to more than 360 households every week. We like to believe that there is no food scarcity on the North Shore of Long Island. But there is. There are 360 households receiving meal kits every week. And I am willing to bet that there are many others who could be receiving food too. Please give as generously as you are able. It is our task to take care of those in this world, to reach out and support and encourage the thriving and well-being of each other. Thank you for your contributions. The donation information will be available on your screen.
Blessing for the Longest Night by Jan Richardson, from The Cure for Sorrow, a book of blessings for times of grief. All throughout these months, as the shadows have lengthened, this blessing has been gathering itself, making ready, preparing for this night. It is practiced walking in the dark, traveling with its eyes closed, feeling its way by memory, by touch, by the pull of the moon, even as it wanes. So believe me when I tell you this blessing will reach you, even if you have not light enough to read it. It will find you, even though you cannot see it coming. You will know the moment of its arriving by your release of the breath you have held for so long, a loosening of the clenching in your hands, of the clutch around your heart, a thinning of the darkness that had drawn itself around you. This blessing does not mean to take the night away, but it knows its hidden roads, knows the resting spots along the path, knows what it means to travel in the company of a friend. So when this blessing comes, take its hand, get up, set out on the road you cannot see. This is the night when you can trust that any direction you go, you will be walking toward the dawn.
Winter Solstice. As we've encountered from some of our readings this morning, this celebration marks the longest night of the year for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, and also marks the official beginning of winter and the turning of the seasons. This is a sacred time, and it has held many names from many cultures throughout generations of observers and celebrants. For the Hopi people, residing in what is today known as the state of Arizona, the ceremonial observance of the winter solstice is called Soyal. In modern-day Iran, people celebrate the Persian festival of Yalda. Historically, Germanic peoples celebrated Yule, festivities that are still observed and have been revived by some contemporary pagans and Wiccans. And there are, of course, many names, celebrations, private as well as public, observations of this holidays from many more cultures and peoples around the world. This year, for those of us in the Eastern Standard Time Zone, the solstice will officially be marked at 5:02 a.m. on the morning of December 21st, 2020. Often, the solstice is associated with feasting, fire, ritual practices, and a variety of joyful expressions of celebration in the cold of winter during this shortest day of the year, whether to welcome and encourage the sun's return or to stave off the cold and darkness that might otherwise feel eternal. But as Jackie James reminds us in her remarkable essay, Dark and Light, Light and Dark, it can be all too easy to fall into the trap of equating darkness with badness, difficulty and challenge with helplessness, silence with lack. Too often, instead of ruminating on the potential embedded in the unknown, which darkness can remind us of, instead we allow the triggering of a fear response to that uncertainty. I don't think things are less uncertain in the light, but perhaps are less obviously so because of our white supremacist cultural conditioning, which makes it all too easy to equate light with right and goodness. Observing Winter Solstice with this awareness gives us an opportunity to push back against those too easy assumptions, these too cliched dichotomies of light versus dark, too easily equated with the equally cliched understandings of good versus evil. We can choose to tell a different story. We can tell the story of how the solstice, with its longest night and retreat into darkness, offers us an opportunity to embrace the stillness, the quiet, and even the solitude of this time of winter. We can accept this invitation to pause, to shut off the notifications and put down the technology, to just be in our bodies, experiencing this moment. So wherever you are right now, I want to invite you, as you are able, to take comfort in the dark. See yourself as a seed, resting, waiting, germinating, burying into dark soil. I invite you, if it is safe for you to do so because you are not driving or walking along a busy road or otherwise in need of all of your senses and attention, to close your eyes and sink into the darkness behind your pupils. I invite you to take a couple of long, deep breaths. And as we head towards this longest, deepest, darkest night, I invite you, as you are breathing, to feel held in the safety of this moment, to feel comforted by this darkness which does not demand your attention, but welcomes you to sink into it. Breathe into the stillness. Breathe in the quiet. Embrace the urge to rest there safely for a little while. Maybe your circumstances, like mine, aren't particularly quiet or perfectly peaceful. If so, I nonetheless invite you to reach for and cultivate the quiet inside of yourself, to find a sense of internal grounding, like digging bare feet into soft soil. Let yourself sink into it and breathe. Some of us dread the darkness and cold of winter, and rightly so. Historically, winter could be a fearful time of scarcity and lack, emptiness and void. For too many families tonight, winter is still this time of scarcity and lack, and emptiness of stomachs and void of compassion. And yet, on this darkest night, the solstice is a reminder that for generations, people have been investing in practices and traditions to celebrate when it is coldest, to pool their resources and share their warmth, to put together meals for the whole community to fill the emptiness, to celebrate their abundance and choose joy in the midst of much sorrow, to let neither expression of emotion tarnish the other, instead to embrace their contrasts, to enhance and honor each experience. As we observe this year's solstice, may we be inspired by these examples to observe this time as one in which we can choose to celebrate the little joys that come our way, even amidst a context of great sorrow. May we be inspired to be newly appreciative of the abundance in our midst, the warmth in this time of winter chill, the comfort of full bellies, and the restful nature of darkness. May we find comfort in our internal experience of stillness and cultivate quieting of the spirit, resting in nurturing darkness. May we be inspired to share what we have and too often take for granted, to embrace the spirit of generosity and take up the work of justice to ensure that none who are in our power to feed go hungry in this time of increased scarcity and food insecurity. May we be comforted in the dark, by the dark, knowing that in this wintering season we can be seeds, resting in dark soil, germinating and waiting until that moment when we are again ready to spring into new life. May it be so.
Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul.
Our closing words today come to us from Stephanie Noble, and they're titled In Celebration of the Winter Solstice. Do not be afraid of the darkness. Dark is the rich, fertile earth that cradles the seed, nourishing growth. Dark is the soft night that cradles us to rest. Only in darkness can stars shine across the vastness of space. Only in darkness is the moon's dance so clear. There is mystery woven into the dark, quiet hours. There is magic in the darkness. Do not be afraid. We are born of this magic. It fills our dreams that root, unravel, and reweave themselves in the shelter of the deep, dark night. The dark has its own hue, its own resonance, its own breath. It fills our soul, not with despair, but with promise. Dark is the gestation of our deep and knowing self. Dark is the cave where we rest and renew our soul. We are born of the darkness, and each night we return to the deep, moist womb of our beginnings. Do not be afraid of the darkness, for in the depth of that very darkness comes a first glimpse of our own light, the pure inner light of love and knowing. As it glows and grows, the darkness recedes. As we shed our light, we shed our fear, and revel in the wonder of all that is revealed. So do not rush the coming of the sun. Do not crave the lengthening of the day. Celebrate darkness, here and now, a time of richness, a time of joy.